Hey pros, Crystal here from Elite Hair Care USA. So today we are doing a transformation on my client. She has a little bit of alopecia going on around the hairline. So we are going to give her a haircut, but we'll be leaving some of the length in the crown of her head. And I'm also going to show you guys the proper way to add tracks to your hair so that they blend really well, but at the same time, you don't hinder the process of your hair growth. Let's say it that way. All right, so we started out by doing a preliminary cut. I decided to use the clippers because I knew that the sides and back were going to be super short or somewhat short. So the clippers just kind of makes it a little bit easier to take that weight off and take a lot of that free hair off. But you can also use your shears to do this just the same. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and do her relaxer, which I did that off camera. You guys have seen me do relaxers multiple times. So now we're going to go through and just give the actual haircut, especially for the sides and the back. And I'm also going to blend that area in the nape where she already had a lot of thinning going on. So all I'm doing is kind of just blending the area right by the occipital bone, or actually on the occipital bone. And this all comes from wig wearing. It comes from, it can come from braids. It can come from really any type of style where you are putting a lot of weight in areas that are typically the weakest. So we know that the nape of our neck is one of the weak areas, as well as the hairline or the edges in the front. Those areas are typically the areas that break off before any other place, and also right in the middle of the head between the crown and the occipital bone, because that's where we sleep. That's also very prone to breaking, or even where we put our ponytail. So if you guys are new to my channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also thumbs up this video. And then of course, all of the styling products and tools used in today's video are available at EliteHairCareUSA.com. So I'm finishing up her haircut now, right at the sides, or right in the edges. That's what we call the edges, even though it's all the way around the hairline. That area was slightly sparse, so I didn't start the cutting in that area. I'm going to actually carve out her sideburns, and I'm going to do that at the end of the service. So to mold her, I'm using our Elite Silk Wrap Foam. We actually have a bundle kit with the wrap foam in it. It's called the Short Pixie Kit. This would definitely be a kit that she would use, where it gives her everything she needs to maintain her style in regards to her wash day, and also to mold her hair down whenever needed. Now, whenever you're doing your molds, you want to make sure that you basically carve out your sideburns, give yourself whatever accents you want. You want to do that at this step of the process, because once the hair dries, it's very hard for you to get that wavy look. It's very complicated for the hair to lay nice and flat if your mold was not nice and flat. So keep that in mind. Foundation is definitely everything. And then also for those hairs where we call it baby hairs, but that area is what kind of broke off, definitely now is the time to lay that area down, so that when it's time for styling, you don't have to work so hard to mold that area or to kind of blend that area in. Now for the crown, I just used a little bit of the wrap foam just to kind of pull her hair forward, but we're going to blow dry this area when her hair is fully dry, and then she's going to go under the dryer for about 30 to 45 minutes. You do want to make sure that your hair is fully dry, especially on the sides and the back, because you can't go back and blow dry that area. It's really not recommended, especially when you're using wrap foam. So now that her hair is fully dry, I said fully about 6 times today, we're actually going to be using our anniversary titanium iron, because she is somewhat texturized in the crown. We did not apply relaxer to the crown of her head. So I just want to kind of point that out. The reason why we didn't do that is because we want to preserve as much density or volume as we can. And it's not necessarily required that you must relax the entire crown, especially if you are going to be wearing it in a style like what she will be wearing it in. Over time, she can definitely relax it, or she can leave it the way it is and let it grow out. I mean, you have kind of choices because the hair is longer and it can be silked out. So I'm actually using our anniversary titanium 1-inch iron. This iron is going to help me to smooth out her hair, but it is definitely one of those irons that's recommended for those of you that might be natural, or maybe you have a lot of density or a lot of volume in your hair. Super easy to use. So I use that to silk her out. just to kind of make her hair nice and straight, because remember, I still have to apply tracks to her hair. And if her hair is not straight when I apply the tracks, I'm going to work even harder trying to separate the hair, trying to blend her hair. So you want to do this part of the process first, and then you'll be able to easily apply your tracks. Okay, this part is probably one of the easiest parts to make your life a lot simpler. Now, I want you guys to kind of take a look at how her texture is. So, trivia question. What texture hair would this be considered? Fine, medium, or coarse textured hair? If you know the answer, comment down below. This is definitely important, especially because a lot of you don't know your texture of hair. So after we finish the silk process, this is when we are going to start adding the tracks. So a couple pro tips on adding tracks. When you're adding tracks to the hair, you want to definitely make sure that the tracks are matching your texture. Remember, hair texture changes in extensions. Is it going to be spot on? Not all the time, but definitely try to get as close as possible to your hair texture. And also, you want to make sure you're getting quality hair. For something of this nature, I'd say Remy hair. I wouldn't even say bundle hair. Bundle hair is actually, the weft is a little too thick to blend. So pack hair, Saga Remy, Cuticle, Bobby Boss, any one of those companies is fine. Just want to make sure that you're matching the texture and the color that you want. And then I always like to cut my client's hair before I add the tracks, because I want to make sure that I'm not doing any overcutting once the tracks are in or installed. And I want to make sure that my client's hair is blending really, really well in regards to length. Now, the good thing about adding tracks to the crown is, or anywhere on the head, you can go as long as you want. But if you're trying to do a short style, then we would have had to cover up all of her hair in the top if we were preserving her length. Now, this cut can also be considered a trim as well, because she's going to have her hair still left outside of the extensions. So you want to make sure that you do clean that up before you add your tracks in. And then adding tracks, I definitely do not apply the tracks to the hair. I part the hair and I put the track directly in the part using hair glue. Depending on color, it'll be black or white hair glue. White hair glue is typically for gray hair or blonde hair. Black hair glue can be used for any other color. And now once the tracks are applied, that is when I like to use a razor. Razors actually do a little bit better with blending extensions with your hair, but please don't get too excited with the razor, because you can easily cut your hair and not even know. So I'm using a little Elite Masket Fibers in the color dark brown to blend her hair in and take that line of demarcation out that is between her hair and the extensions. This is something that you can do at home. Elite Masket can be used on any hair texture and any hair type, because it is keratin hair fibers. So it is just fibrous powder that is used to blend or shade an area. So now I'm using the H2 Pro 3/10 of an inch iron. I did spray a little bit of Goddess polish on her hair first. That is going to serve as our heat protectant. In this case, she is fine textured. So for those of you that commented fine texture down below, you were right. She is fine textured. So I didn't want to apply any frizz tamer and shine serum, because it was going to make her hair a little bit too heavy for my liking. So the Goddess polish, which is a shine mist and also a thermal heat protectant, can be used in a case like this. And it also adds that finishing gloss to the hair, but it's lightweight and it doesn't weigh the hair down. So I'm using that 3/10 of an inch iron for the shorter areas of her hair. This is the iron that I recommend for shortcuts. If you guys notice, I use that on my hair all the time. And then for the longer hair, she can actually use either the 1-inch ceramic iron, or she can use the 1-inch titanium iron. In her case, I'm not silking her out anymore, so I would more say use the ceramic, but the titanium also works just fine, and you can use either or. Now for the crown part of her head, you guys saw me switch over. I am using the titanium today, but we are doing larger sections to ensure that we are not going to add any additional damage to her hair or dry the extensions out, because they can quickly dry out. So keep that in mind as well. Now I'm doing vertical partings to allow me to feather her hair really, really easily. And then at the same time, I would definitely recommend for at-home care, all she do is pin curl the top and put her scarf around the sides and the back. Now, if you guys notice, she has that nice shiny finish. The Goddess Polish was sprayed on previously, and if you notice, I didn't spray any more on her hair because I don't want to weigh her hair down or make it too heavy or too oily too soon, because remember, her hair is out, so it's definitely going to be a situation where her natural oils will start to distribute as time goes by. So you want to leave the hair as light and airy as possible. So now that the curling is finished, we're going to go ahead and use our wide tooth comb. And I sprayed just a little bit more Goddess Polish, a very small amount. And then the comb, I'm just using it to rake through the curls that we did, or the bump that we did. And then for this style, I like to move the sides forward. That gives that volume towards the face and takes the density off the side of the head. But it also has that illusion of extreme fullness, even though we added extensions, and it still looks very natural. That is the goal, right? So this part of the process is really easy. You can use your fingers, you can use your comb. If you did the cut the right way, you don't really have to work as hard. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you have that overlapping in the right behind the ear. It's just going to give that added texture, that added oomph to the style. And then be sure to make sure that your track coverage is good. So what I did was I left about 2 inches of hair in the crown at the last track, so that I had enough coverage between her hair and the extensions. Okay, so you want to make sure that you leave enough of your hair out so that you can cover that last track, and then you can add those masket fibers in there as well. And now is when I'm done doing the detailing work of her sideburns. And honestly, guys, that's really the end of the style. It's really easy to maintain. All she needs to do is pin curl that top. And then her next service, because we did do a relaxer, is going to be a super protein treatment using the Elite Repair RX. And that's it. That's it, you guys. So definitely the Pixie Cut bundle is going to be her best friend from here on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to comment, thumbs up, and also subscribe if you're new. Peace.